Hello friends, it's a beautiful day out here today and I wanted to do this video outside, but it's a little bit windy and I think it's kind of getting in the way of the audio a bit. So I'm going to go indoors, but I want to talk about this concept of the entelechy. It might be something you haven't heard about, and I want to share it with you because once you understand what it means and you connect with that inside of you, it can be a really powerful thing.
Who all can tell you not to sing your story? Who all can tell you that you're singing off key? You are the dancer, you are not the dancer. You are the song, not the one who sang. Be a beautiful songbird. No, you tell the truth. You tell the truth.
So it's really windy outside, and inside the light is all kinds of funky. So I found the one spot where maybe it's not so strange to do this video because I really want to talk about this concept of the entelechy. So this is a term that was originally coined by Aristotle way back when. The Greek term is entelechia. So entelechia, if we break down the term, telos it means purpose, and enteles means completion. So there's an element, an aspect of the completion of a purpose, and lechia has to do with having. So this concept that Aristotle started working with is the idea of an inherent purpose, of having a purpose or completing a purpose. And what Aristotle, in looking at the world, looking at nature, looking at humanity, what he said with this concept of entelechia or entelechy is that everything has an inner innate potential. And so if we look at the acorn, there's the potential, the entelechy of the oak tree inside of the acorn. So the oak tree is already the potential for the fully thriving, massive, glorious oak tree is inside of the acorn already. So why does this matter? What's interesting about this? When you connect with this idea of the entelechy and the possibility that, just like the acorn, that there's an entelechy within you, there's an entelechy of morella inside of me, and that there's this innate, latent potential that is asking to be expressed, that is pulling us forward into its expression, you start to feel the truth in that. And so that's what kind of Aristotle said, and many philosophers and spiritual teachers since then, they've looked at, there's an inherent intelligence, but even greater than that, there's an inherent calling, a yearning, a potential that is beckoning life forth, exactly like the acorn into the oak. The acorn doesn't have to work hard to become the oak, and this is another important piece for us to chew on for a moment. The acorn doesn't work hard to become an oak tree. The acorn is meant to become an oak tree, and all it needs is the right conditions for all of the unfolding of the potential to take place. And so when we take this concept of the entelechy and we take it in and we look to ask ourselves, what is the entelechy of me? What is that inner, infinite potential, amazingly wise potential that is wanting to be expressed, that is asking to be expressed, that is pulling me forth to be expressed? And when you start to open that question inside of you, you start to realize that this entelechy, this potential, becomes alive in you in the voices of your heart, in the the yearnings that you have in your life. And so you can start to be curious, what are the yearnings in my life? What is the potential that I know I feel inside of me? Just like the acorn is forever manifesting that purpose into the oak tree, because the oak tree is forever unfolding into an even bigger, greater, more majestic tree. We can all feel that inner entelechy, that inner potential always asking to unfold. Even if you're already feeling like you're very successful or that your life is looking very much like you want it to look, you can feel that drive, that inner calling for increasingly expansive expression. And so when we tune into this idea of the entelechy and the fact that the acorn does not need to work at all to become an oak tree, how can we draw inspiration from that? And so I like to use the inspiration from nature to find answers, right? So the acorn needs earth, soil, needs water, needs light. And so we can use these things to say, what do I need to do about my potential? So before we bring in earth, water, and light, we need to get clear about what is that yearning, what is that entelechy. In other words, do I have an acorn seed or do I have an apple seed or do I have a sunflower seed? What are the conditions that are going to be needed? So you want to start by getting really clear on what is that inner calling of your potential. And again, it speaks to you in your yearnings. What are the different yearnings, the soul yearnings you have in your life, in the different dimensions of your life? It can be career, it can be home environment, it can be relationships, it can be visibility, it can be your self-esteem, it can be your health. What are the yearnings that you have in your life in the different ways in which you can express? Because when you get really clear, then you can create the ripe conditions for that potential to be nurtured, like the acorn into the oak tree. So then we bring in the soil, the water, the light. So when I look at the soil is the metaphor for us, for the physical body. What's the soil, the earth, the matter in which this seed of potential is going to be nurtured, fed, and brought to full robustness of life? So you want to look at, how are you treating your body? What are you feeding your body? The next piece, the light. So the metaphor for light, just as, a couple centuries ago, we spoke of the Enlightenment, which was all about thinking and, the illumination of thought. So light is all about thought, about thinking. And so you want to bring the light that will help your seed come forth to life. You want to bring the right kind of thinking. You want to get focused. You want to get crisp. You want to get disciplined around your thinking, on your thinking about your purpose, the seed that you want to nurture into full unfolding. And you want to be mindful that you're not clouding the seed with limiting belief, destructive beliefs, negative thinking, and harmful, destructive inner dialogue. So you have to become aware of what are the thoughts that are giving light to this seed. And then the water. So water is always, always a metaphor for emotion. And so from an emotional perspective, you want to see how you're nourishing your seed of potential with the perfect amount of water, not too much, not too little. And so the perfect kind of nurturing emotions that help that seed expand, sprout forth into life. And, you don't want to be pouring acid on it, the acid of anxiety or the acid of anger or the acid of fear. You want to be giving it the nourishing waters that help your seed of potential grow and expand. So this is a really philosophical concept, as you can tell, but the reality is that when we dial in to that inner potential, that inner yearning, that inner longing in your heart that's just asking to be expressed, you can really feel the truth that this is the way your life wants to be expressed. This is how you want to blossom, increasingly blossom forevermore in your life. And then that in order to really nurture that into happening, you have to look at all of the dimensions. You can't just, and importantly, going back to the fact that the acorn does not work hard to become an oak tree. You can't, or it's a very dangerous path to think that you're going to work hard to fulfill your potential, because it can often lead to burnout. You can't coax the oak tree out of the acorn. You can't coax your potential or force your potential into unfolding at a faster pace or in the not right conditions. And so sometimes we struggle with that because we want to make it happen now. And, we see so much messaging that if with hard work and commitment and you just make it happen, and then we see a lot of burnout from that. We don't have to work hard. We just have to nurture it. We just have to let it unfold, let it blossom, let it expand. And then in this way, it happens as a beautiful dance of co-creation with nature, with a nature that's inside of you, with a potential that wants to come out and play. So I just wanted to share that with you. And also, of course, when it comes to these things, well, this is exactly what I do. I do this particularly in my reboot program, and it's starting just this coming week, because what we do is we get really clear on what is that latent potential. What is your soul yearning to express? What are your biggest dreams? And you get really, really clear on that. And then you mobilize all of the body, mind, and heart energy around that. And oh my goodness, it's like you start to set in motion the movement towards some really big things in your life. And again, it's not forcing them, it's just nurturing them in the right way. And it can be really beautiful and really fun. So if you want to check out the reboot program, check it out. We're starting next week, so there's no time to waste. And if the time has passed, because these videos live on YouTube a lot longer, then just send me a message, and I'll let you know when the next reboot will be happening. Much love to you. Nurture that little seed inside of you, because that is the seed of you blooming into the most extraordinary expression that you could be.